So you mentioned you do coaching. So you have players who come to you and you work with them on their kind of the mental aspect of the game. What are some of like the myths or the things that you find you have to dispel more often than not as you're working with somebody who's just trying to have fun and trying to just get a better sense of their mental game?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, we just, briefly touched on it. And I'd say the first thing I always do, and something I stress with all my content and my book and the next book I got coming out, is just to have the right expectations. Like when I look at most of my freakouts, they stemmed from just having unrealistic expectations. I had these beliefs that I had to hit PGA Tour worthy shots at, every time. And that's just not the case. And so I really, I love Arcos and I love all the, shot scope and all the different data out there that we can get. Cause obviously PGA Tour is great. You have ShotLink and you can, go on their stats page. And I reference a lot of that, which is nice because again, we put professionals up on a pedestal sometimes. Don't get me wrong. They're insanely talented. They work hard. They're so good. But at the same time, we only see the highlight reel, so I really want people to know, hey, when you watch golf on TV, you're only seeing the best guys on their best weeks. And so it's like that, I think alone kind of sets the stage for us to be like, wow, well, they do this or they do that. It's like, don't get me wrong. Again, they're very good, but when you look at their stats, they're far from perfect too. So, my easiest one, 8 feet make rate on the PGA Tour is 50%.
Yeah.
8 feet. How many times are you out there with someone mid-handicapper, they got an 8-footer, their only birdie putt of the day, and they're like, I got to make this. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you want to make it, but even the pros are going to miss half of you. So that's like, I love the PGA Tour stuff, but I love all the data that we have now to really help. So if you are a scratch, 5, 15, 20, whatever, there's different, benchmarks. And so depending on who I'm working with, we always start with their handicap and where they want to get to. So let's say they're a 15 handicap, but they do want to get to a 5. That's easy because you have all this data out there. So, I always recommend my students to track their stats so we can then have some objective data, because if you don't have that, then it's just kind of like guessing and testing. And so if you just think, yeah, I'm an okay driver or I'm an okay putter, the stats might totally agree or be like, wow, that's not the case at all. And so we only have so much time to practice, right? We all have busy lives and families and stuff. So when you do practice, I want those students working on their weaknesses. So I think that's kind of the first step, is managing your expectations, getting clear about your goals. And then that way we have a plan. And that way when we do practice, we know what to do. And then the second thing I work on with every single student is to go through our mental processes throughout the round. There's a lot of different things we can do, but I always like to joke, like most of this is not in our control, right? We have the wind, we have the, what the green speed is, like how your body feels that day. Maybe you just didn't feel good when you woke up stiff. Like there's 100 things out of our control, but there are a few things we can control that, are going to set you up for the best golf. And so that's why I really go into pre-shot routines a lot, making sure we have post-shot routines. So when we do hit bad shots, we don't tomahawk clubs into lakes and have to swim out and try and find them later, and so it's little things like that. Control what you can, control your body language, control your self-talk, control your routine, so that way you set yourself up to win. It doesn't mean you're going to hit good shots all the time, but at least you're going to stand over the ball and have the best chance. So I'd say routines and expectations are two of the biggest things I go through with every student, whether they're a 25 handicap and they're 75 years old, or they're a scratch golfer at 12, which, I've had a lot of different students, but I think that's kind of the big two that I always stress with everybody.
Your point about the PGA Tour and like golf on TV being a highlight reel is so true. You're watching the best golfers play the best golf of that
their
week.
Best golf of the year, yeah,
and their best golf of the year versus like if you put on an NBA game on a Tuesday night and you might watch as a Celtics fan, you might watch Jason Tatum go like 3 for 15, and you're watching him do all of it and having a nightmare. Mm-hmm. Whereas you don't watch those guys on the PGA Tour. They are not on TV. They are... Well,
yeah, because it doesn't keep your eyes glued, right? If you're just seeing them, miss the fairway, miss the green, not get up and down, miss a 5-footer, like... That nobody wants to watch that. It's a business, right? And it's all about the ads. And so if they're showing you the 35-foot putt that he's going to make 1 out of 20 times, and you see the hole out from a bunker that's going to happen a couple times a season, that's a lot more fun to watch. I always joke we should have like the ESPN 8 showing the low light reel, so that way we could just kind of help our expectations a little bit.
One of my favorite things to watch is the featured groups that show an entire round of golf on the Thursday, Fridays. I love watching those because you do get to watch guys like build a round of golf, which is way more valuable than just watching Rory and Scheffler knock down flags. But like, you got to watch them. They got to save par. They missed 4 greens around, and they have to get up and down and miss on the right sides and all that stuff. And you see them get in trouble sometimes they can't get out of trouble. You know, they're making bogeys, and you don't always see that. That's the best golf on TV.
I agree. So everybody should go watch a group, like go to a professional tournament or Korn Ferry, LPGA, whatever, and find and just watch one group for at least 9 holes just to see them hit bad shots and be like, wow, that's nice to see, because then it frees you up. Because if you're out there and you think I have to hit every shot great to play my best, you're never going to, because it's just not going to happen. You know, Ben Hogan said that he hit 3 to 5 good shots a round. Like, this is a ball striking legend. Obviously, his standards are a little higher than ours, but it's just nice when you see it in person. And that's why, like, a lot of playing lessons people do with like pros and stuff, and they'll actually have the pro play, and it's nice because then you could be like, oh wow, you know, they hit not great shots too, but they bounce back quickly.